What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock, what's going on with the market affecting NIO, what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and some big news that just came out as a big bank just bought into NIO and doubled its position. But before I break anything down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just about 9 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with NIO. NIO was down 1.43% for the day on Friday, basically coming down a little bit more. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders like structure that could be developing, but we need to see NIO hold above this 7.5 area. Now we have a bullish divergence also developing on the 30 minutes time frame. At the same time, on the 4 hour, we're seeing the same thing that's forming. We have a nice looking divergence right here forming on the 4 hour time frame, which once again signals that there could be a reversal starting to happen, but there's no confirmation yet unless we truly get a bounce. So right now, it looks like the market could try to rebound a bit, which could help NIO. We had some good news that came out, so that could also help NIO. But I want to first talk about what's going to affect the markets. What news is coming out that's so big before I break down more details about why on earth we could see some buyers step in very soon for NIO. So when it comes to news affecting the markets, guys, don't forget that for Monday we just have a couple of banks coming out: the Bank of Marin, the Bank of Hawaii, and just a couple of others. Nothing too big for Monday, but then going into Tuesday through Thursday, that's when things become serious. On Tuesday, we have Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Alphabet, Verizon, just a couple of other earnings. For Wednesday, we have Meta and IBM, which are going to be two big ones. And then for Thursday, we're going to have Amazon and Intel, and it's going to be very, very important. So we have some big tech earnings coming out for this week. It's going to be very impactful, so make sure you're watching it all very carefully. There's not much data coming out for tomorrow. Anyways, we have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming up before the market opens. It shouldn't cause anything too impactful. We also have a Fed board meeting, so nothing too big so far. As far as NIO goes, Deutsche Bank is maintaining its buy rating for the company. The price price ratio has dropped a little bit, showing a little bit of weakness, but it's not that bad. And overall, when it comes to seasonality, Mondays tend to be green only about 49% of the time, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays tend to be a little bit better. And on top of that, that's pretty much it for the data affecting us for the short term. When it comes to data affecting NIO, at least moving forward, the volume has been about 32 million, so it's actually very close to average, nothing too insane. And overall, NIO has been doing quite well when it comes to the amount of media coverage it's getting, not to mention some good news. So I want to break that down in just a few minutes. Just to call this out, we have the new ES8 that's going to be, once again, very important for NIO's future. It gives a sense of natural beauty with nothing but pure surfaces, and it looks very, very nice when it comes to its integrated technologies and very, very nice looking exterior. So this is actually something that NIO is reminding us about, and I do agree that the ES8 looks very, very beautiful. It's a very, very incredible vehicle, and more individuals across China are going to be interested in this, especially going into the holidays when bigger families could start fitting in them. So it's very, very good for them, very, very good for their sales. I'm very excited for what's going to happen for Q4. Now, don't forget, some more big news came out. This is actually originally reported by Barron's that a huge bank has doubled down on NIO despite selling Intel, Salesforce, and Disney. So, this is some big news that came out. Asset manager of Norway's largest bank just made some big changes in the US traded stock portfolio. It doubled its position on a lot of these EVs and sold off some big tech names that had some big runs. So, it was DNB Asset Management slash investments in chipmaker Intel, software firm Salesforce, excuse me, and also entertainment company Disney, while also raising its investment into NIO. So this is some good news for them. They're raising their investment in NIO. They're doubling down on NIO, buying more and more of these shares, which is once again showing strength and making things look very, very interesting. So this is once again very, very interesting to see how things are moving. But I just want to call out the fact that NIO is looking a little weak right now. There's no sign that the ultimate bottom is in yet, as it's been downtrending, but the market bouncing is very possible for the week, just a slight bounce going into Monday. And I think this could help NIO, at least for the short term. Now, Looking at SPY, I just want to call out a couple of things before I talk about NIO. On the 30 minutes time frame, we have a nice bullish divergence developing. Same thing on the hourly, and we're at this 420 support. Now, if we lose 420, we could get very close to the 418s before trying to bounce, or it could be like right here at 420. I believe that we're going to bounce somewhere between 418 and 420. I think that SPY is going to ultimately try to get back to 424. For Tesla, I think that this thing has a bullish divergence on the 30 minutes time frame. I think that there's a chance it's going to try to rebound and try to make its way back up to 218. If we get above 214, watch for a push for about 218. Now, it is possible for us to drop a little lower first before we bounce. But as of right now, I'm leaning in the direction that the bottom is in temporarily, just like for the short term, super short term. And I think Tesla's going to try to get back to 218, making attempts to get back up. That's the direction I'm leaning in because I think it's very oversold, and it's the most oversold it's been in a very long time. For Apple stock, I believe that we have a nice bullish divergence that has developed, and I think that Apple's going to try to make its way up to 174 very soon. For the QQQ, we also have a bullish divergence. I think it's going to make its way up to 357 very soon as well, and I think that there should be a bounce coming. Now, it is possible we drop a little bit more towards like 352 and then we bounce, or we could just bounce from right here at 353.9. Either way, I see a bounce coming. I'm leaning in the direction of it just bouncing from here. Last but not least, before I talk about NIO, Nvidia also has a bullish divergence and also held this 410 area. So I think it could kind of like tag 410 to 409 and then try to bounce back to about 417.68 or the 30 minutes 50 EMA. I think there's a good chance it's going to try to test this, and from a technical standpoint, it is due for a slight bounce. So as far as NIO goes, with the market potentially attempting to bounce, there's a chance that NIO could try to hold this area, but this support is going to be key. So for NIO, 7.47 to 7.5, that zone is acting as key support, and NIO has been holding up quite decently for the past couple of days. So if this is a sign of a reversal, we could be forming a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. If the inverse head and shoulders is forming here, then we could get a bounce and a rebound towards that these much higher levels, such as that 7.84 area, then eventually 8.07, or very close to the 200 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame. My gut is telling me it's going to make an attempt to bounce right here. We're going to try to see this inverse head and shoulders play out. I think 8.07 is very possible for the stock. So I think it's going to try to bounce right here so long as we hold this area, as long as there's not too much bad news that comes out. We have to see if 7.5 holds for the inverse head and shoulders. Now, if we do lose it, it is still possible for us to eventually come down to about $7 in the future because we have this nice head and shoulders on the much larger time frame. It is possible for it to drop even lower and then we get the bounce, a much bigger bounce off 7. However, looking at the chart, it's looking like a bullish divergence is still establishing. And as long as we hold this 7.5 area, I think it's going to likely attempt to bounce. So I think the market's going to bounce tomorrow. I think this could help NIO temporarily see some upside. That does not mean that NIO is going to be exploding from here. I'm just saying a temporary bounce is still very possible after how much we sold off and also after how we've been holding 7.5 nicely. So I predict we're going to hold 7.5, and I think that we might see NIO try to make its way up towards 8.07. I think it may be testing its 200 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame within the next couple of trading days. We have a possible inverse head and shoulders right here, and as long as we hold above 7.5, it is going to be valid. So I think it's going to try to hold this and try to make its way up close to $8, but just to be safe, we need to see it hold 7.5. If we lose 7.5, then 7.25 is a possibility, but I'm not leaning that much in that direction because of the bullish news that came out and the fact that we look like we have a liquidity grab right here, and this bullish divergence could lead to a bounce. All right, so I hope that's as clear as possible. I am leaning in the direction of this thing bouncing. I think it's likely going to try to bounce very soon. So watch for 8.07. Let's hope 7.5 holds, and I think we're going to see some buyers stepping in. That is my prediction, guys. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon because the long term is still incredibly bright alongside the whole market, and peace out.